It's time for the Silverstone Grand Prix, which is one of the most infamous Grand Prix on the calendar and some of the best racing we genuinely get throughout the whole entire year. It also is bringing probably the biggest packages for every team on the grid. Now, the ones that I'm going to specifically focus on will be Red Bull at first, then talking into Ferrari, then going into Aston Martin, and then talking about Mercedes. And I will drop some other teams like the Alfa Romeo team in this video, because those are nice to touch on as well. But I will focus on the big teams and what they're bringing to this Grand Prix, why this Grand Prix could be a very significant change and Red Bull won't have that advantage anymore that they've really had going into most of the Grand Prix. The Red Bull team is currently the strongest team on the grid. That is obvious. Is it the strongest team regarding driver pairing? No. But the car definitely is the strongest on the grid. But Max Verstappen has been able to pull out this insane performance out of the car. It really doesn't have any weaknesses, I would say. I think it's genuinely the strongest car in straight line speed, in both its engine department, reliability, going into slow speed, medium speed, and high speed. So why else would they need even upgrades? Just keep the car as it is. Well, the only thing that they kind of have an issue on is starting up their tires, but they clearly start the tires up a lot better than Aston and Mercedes, so the team doesn't really have an issue. And the upgrade coming into here that they are bringing that's been rumored for a long time now, and might actually be their last upgrade of the year, funny enough, is the floor upgrade. The upgrade that Max Verstappen even hinted at after the crash with Perez in Monaco, to where the floor was shown. He said, no, there is another floor upgrade coming. It is coming here in Silverstone. So yes, the Red Bull team is looking to gain another 2-3 tenths, probably, with this floor upgrade. Now, I think it's going to take some time to optimize, so let's not expect them to blow everybody out to water here in Silverstone. But yes, this will be their last upgrade package of the season, and it's going to be really focused on that underfloor part, something that Adrian Newey has already been killing everybody on the grid with. Next team I quickly want to talk about is Alfa Romeo. First of all, before talking about it, this car is a beaut. I gotta just mention how beautiful this car is. I wish it was as fast as it was beautiful, because it would be nice to see it somewhere fighting the top teams. But they're actually bringing an underfloor upgrade and an upper floor upgrade to their car to really go upon that weakness of their high speed cornering. The car is actually pretty well balanced, but they needed to bring something in for the high speed cornering. And this is what Bottas talks about. The Silverstone upgrade will bring a significant margin to their high-speed cornering, something they've been lacking throughout the whole entire season. Next team, guess we're still sticking with the Ferrari units. We're going to talk about Ferrari. Ferrari just recently brought a real front wing update. They had their rear wing update in Monaco, and they've worked upon the floor. It's a different style to before, and it's side pods, really. They've been able to actually fire up their tires a lot better, as well as keeping them really in check. Now, the last couple of tracks have been rear-oriented. They have really suited that Ferrari car. But even last year, going into Silverstone, they had a car that was actually pretty good on its tires. I would say it was actually very good on its tires last year with the F175. They have seemed to find a trick, definitely, in the suspension, but the famous thing that's been talked about with Ferrari, the thing that they think will extract a lot of performance, talked about by Frederick, talked about by Carlos, it is in the rear suspension. It's something that they feel they lack in, and there will be upgrades coming to it. Now, it's not going to be a completely revised rear suspension, because that is part of the chassis, and they cannot change certain aspects into it. In the beginning of the season, the way that they set up that gearbox and rear suspension is very important for the whole entire rest of the season, because there's only certain things they can change without actually breaking really the regulations of the rules. So they're going to be bringing additional parts to that rear suspension and adding more parts to the car. I would assume on the upper floor, it's still pretty simple, especially in the beginning, but the floor keeps getting added more and more on it, and they're finding more and more performance. Rear suspension is the biggest thing being talked about for Ferrari going into the Silverstone Grand Prix. They're already expected to be pretty fast there. I think with an upgrade, they could be competitive with Red Bull and Mercedes and Aston Martin. This will be the closest, I think, really track we get the whole entire season with all four teams trying to be competitive. I do feel like Mercedes has the edge here. Real quickly before I go into Aston Martin and Mercedes, I wanted to thank you all. Genuinely, you guys are the best, and thank you all so much for supporting the videos. It means the world for me. Honestly, it means the world, and to anybody that's not subscribed, please do. That would mean even more to me. Subscribe, hit the like button right now. That'd be amazing. Try to upload every single day. Hope you guys stay tuned. Let's go more into this video speaking about Aston Martin. All right, the team that I rep, Aston Martin. The team that I rep, not biased towards, I love them, but I can also respect them. Their biggest weakness, high-speed cornering. They have just been so lackluster in the high speeds. Hence why Austria sucked. Hence why I think Silverstone, they might be the 4th best team coming into here. Sadly, I don't feel like this is going to be a Grand Prix that they're going to be strong at unless these upgrades change a thing or two. Now, they're coming in to change a thing or two. That's the beauty of it. I do want to see a car that can pull out its performance. They weren't able to optimize in Austria, so we weren't able to see what those Canadian Grand Prix upgrades brought in. They brought in some performance, but not really the performance they've been looking for in the high speed. They were okay. Let's say the least. They were okay in Austria. They can be a lot better. Silverstone will really exceed those weaknesses if they don't perform to the expectations that need to be performed here with. But I think that will be covered. They're going to be adding a lot more to its underfloor. That's a big upgrade coming here, and the DRS efficiency. Now, they're already pretty efficient in DRS, but they have really been trying to hone in on how that advantage for Red Bull is so nice in its real rear end. They have rear end downforce. They've been adding it through the side pods, through the floor, really in general. They've had a better car in a straight line. The car still is pretty draggy though. It's the rear end. Something is messed up there, whether it's through a suspension or it's through the real DRS flap or just the way that the beam wing is being really installed onto the car, or it's not being installed. That's the biggest thing. So they're bringing parts to its rear end, mainly focusing on the DRS and how the floor can be more efficient going to its back. Talked about this before. Aero efficient upgrades expected in Silverstone for Aston Martin. That is the biggest thing that they need to focus on going on into this Grand Prix. Big things that could very much change their margin in high speed and medium speed, but those are the hardest types of corners to nail in a Formula One car. They do have the mechanical grip, so that will help them going into Silverstone. They are a front limited car that will help them going into Silverstone. Still though, some things are lacking there that Mercedes and Red Bull just have a bigger advantage in those aspects. Otherwise, traction zone, slow speed, they're killers. They don't really have to improve much upon that. They're just as fast as Red Bull there. Okay, last team, the Mercedes team. Now, I've covered Mercedes so much throughout the whole entire year. They keep bringing package after package. Everybody's going to say, they're breaking the cost cap, they're doing this. No, they're not. They're being efficient. They know what they're doing. Now, this package is supposed to be their biggest of the year. I covered it even in the James Allison video. It's supposed to be from James Allison. These are what the package things are going to cover. Underbody, updated side pods, and engine cover. Now, obviously, this is to focus on the rear end. Catching that rear suspension in a more efficient way, being able to stall out its beam wing, bring a lot more performance to its rear end when catching the car, but also being able to extract that better performance going into slow speed to traction zones. The biggest weakness in the Mercedes car is what I just mentioned, rear downforce. So these are what these upgrades are focused on. It will be, I think, the most important package that they bring this year for the reasons that I just named. Without that, they will struggle on tracks like Hungary. They will struggle on tracks that are very rear-oriented tracks, and that will kill them throughout the whole entire season. It killed them in Austria. It'll kill them again if they don't bring upgrades that actually really focus on that part of the car. I do believe this will be a Grand Prix that I think they are coming in as favorites, because this is everything the car wants, Silverstone brings. Pretty flat surface, lowering the car as low as possible, bringing out that performance in the floor, being able to just kind of go into those high speed and medium speed corners, excelling on really tire degradation. If Mercedes does not execute their chance here, that would be sad, because this is the Grand Prix I feel like Mercedes can finally take a win, and I expect it to come from Sir Lewis Hamilton. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of every single upgrade package coming? I think it's exciting. This will be the biggest Grand Prix we get for upgrade packages. We're not going to be getting that many more really huge things in the year, except for Silverstone. So let me know your thoughts down below. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world, and peace.